Hey Hunters, Lord here, back with another Monster Hunter World Iceborne endgame set video. Now today's video is going to be the second to last weapon for this series, which is GUNLANCE. In this video, I've got an endgame set for normal shelling GUNLANCE, long shelling GUNLANCE, and wide shelling GUNLANCE, but I've also prepared a Pre-Fatalis set that should be available roughly after you beat the main story, and some weapon suggestions for during the story for each shelling type. Now we've got a lot to cover, but first, if you find yourself enjoying this video, I'd ask that you consider subscribing to my channel, as over 90% of you watching in the last month aren't subscribed. Secondly, just because I use or recommend a weapon or armor piece or skill doesn't mean that you have to use it, and likewise, if I don't use a weapon, skill, or armor piece that you like, that doesn't mean that it's bad and you can't use it. Remember that Monster Hunter is just a game, and you should build sets in a way that makes it fun for you to play the game. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the sets, where we're going to be starting off with our normal shelling set. Now personally, this is my favorite playstyle of GUNLANCE. I like to use the full burst combo playstyle, so that includes a lot of weapon hits with the lance portion of your weapon, not just the shelling attacks. Because of this, I've opted for maximum critical and attack skills, even though shelling is only boosted by our shelling level, artillery, and eating for feline bombardier. Since the lance hits make up a majority of our damage, we want to boost that as much as possible, which is why I've gone for things like agitator, attack boost, weakness exploit, critical boost, and critical eye. Our weapon is the true Fatalis GUNLANCE. Of course, we'll be using 4 pieces of Fatalis armor, the Culve Beta legs, and the Challenger Charm level 5. Now this set hits like a truck, but still has solid survivability with guard level 5. If you're going to fight something where you know you're going to be blocking a lot of novas, you could also throw in a guard up decoration if you would like. Now if you don't have all these attack plus jewels, like I know many don't, you can drop them for stone thrower / attack combo decorations, since slinger capacity is a huge booster to our Wormstake Blast, as the more slinger ammo you have, the longer it stays attached to the monster. You could also drop the Iron Wall / Handicraft decorations for just Iron Wall Plus, and then fit in a couple more Stone Thrower combo decorations that way if you'd prefer that instead. Up next is Long GUNLANCE, where we'll be running a Safajiva GUNLANCE. Now any Safajiva GUNLANCE will do, you just need to awaken for Long Shelling 2, and then the other awakens can be anything that you want. Now I personally opted to go for Max Attack Up, since that does boost the Wormstake Blast damage. But again, you could go for anything you want, you just need to have Long Shelling 2 as one of your awakens. Of course, we'll be running 4 pieces of Fatalis armor, but this time we'll be using the Stygian Zinogre Greaves Beta and the Ironside Charm 5. Now since most of your damage comes from shelling, we can actually fit in a ton of quality of life skills. Personally, I went for earplugs, evade window, and maximum slinger capacity, but you can of course swap those around to fit your preferences. Now critical eye does nothing for our shelling damage, but since you get 3 from the set, and I had some stone thrower / expert combo jewels laying around, I tacked those on since you do occasionally end up poking the monster. Now the reason we went for the Stygian Zinogre Greaves is because Focus 3 is a must-have on long shelling GUNLANCE, since it drastically speeds up your charge shelling, which is your #1 source of damage for this shelling type. Now the final endgame set we have for today is Wide GUNLANCE, where we'll be using the Raging Brachydios GUNLANCE, and the same setup of Fatalis armor, but the Rimeguard Greaves Gamma. Now Wide GUNLANCE tends to use a combo of poke shell, etc., so we've gone for max crit to help those poke attacks out a little bit. Now if you're really dying for some extra quality of life skills, the best thing to drop would probably be Agitator, so you could swap out the charm for like artillery or guard charm, and then use those extra slots that opened up by no longer needing those decorations to fit in some other skills if you'd prefer to have something different. Alright, so the final full set today is going to be our post-story Pre-Fatalis set, but don't click off yet, as I'll also cover good weapons to use during the story for GUNLANCE, so you have something to farm for if you're not quite into the endgame. Now this set should be mostly available not long after you beat the final Iceborne story, roughly around Master Rank 24. We're going for 5 pieces of the Raging Brachydios armor, which will get you both Agitator and Artillery Secret. Then we have the Ironside Charm 5, but if you only have it at level 3 or 4, that should be totally fine as well. Now this is built for wide shelling right now, as you can see. If you're going to use long shelling, I would recommend dropping attack boost for focus instead. But if you're going to use normal shelling, then this set should work fine just like this. Alright, now here are my recommendations for weapons of each shelling type to farm throughout your progression in Iceborne before you get the ones that I used in the endgame sets. Now first, for long shelling, the QR Buster King is a great option to farm from Master Rank Kulf to Roth, but an earlier option that is available during the story is the Deathlance Val Spiza from Blackveil Val Hazak. For normal shelling, before you reach Fatalis, you'll be able to fight the Frostfang Barioth, whose Gunlance is very strong for full burst. But if you want something during the progression of the Iceborne story, you'll want to try out the Highness's Fury from Pink Rathian. Finally, Wide Gunlance has about 1 million wide level 5 Gunlances that are easily grindable in the Iceborne story, but one that stood out to me very early on is the Barioth Buff 2, since it has good slots, good raw, and a nice plus 25 defense bonus. Now guys, I'll be the first to admit that I didn't know Gunlance that well before making this video. However, I've spent a ton of time researching and testing and working to make sure that I brought you guys the best information that I could. So if you found today's video helpful, insightful, or if you just liked the video, do consider hitting the thumbs up down below. It's a totally free way to support both my channel and ensure that this video is recommended to other hunters. If you're new to my channel, new to Monster Hunter, or if you just liked what you saw, do consider subscribing for lots more Monster Hunter content like this. I've already covered 13 of the 14 weapon types, so if any of those might interest you, be sure to go back and check those out. I wanted to thank you all so much for 15,000 subscribers. What an insane milestone. The love and support this year has been absolutely insane, and I can't tell you guys just how grateful I am. With all that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I wish you all a good day, and happy hunting.